Well, let's get more on this. We're joined now by Tarra Jackson, a financial analyst, and she's live for us in Wilmington in the U.S. state of Delaware. Ms. Jackson, very good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. Let's begin with the U.S. Treasury designating China a currency manipulator. What does this mean? What action will it take as a result?
Well, it means that they've pretty much, based on the Omnibus Fair Trade and Competitive Act in 1998, that they will reframe or they will watch over any country that is trying to utilize currency changes that will manipulate and give them an unfair advantage. And that is the chess move that it looks like China did after the tariffs. I'm calling this a tariff testosterone fight. So because of this, now they are retaliating. Unfortunately, their chess move might fall back on them, or as it stands, because the Secretary of the United States is now going to work with the IMF to make sure that they don't get this unfair advantage.
Is it an unfair advantage? China says that they had to let the yuan fall to meet the U.S. tariffs, to meet the U.S. levies, because letting the yuan fall means that their exports will be cheaper. It will increase the price of U.S. imports.
Yeah, that sounds good. But when you talk to them, they say everything is fine and we don't necessarily need to do certain things. And everything that they say that they needed to do this change, 11-year change, and they turn around and say, oh, but we're fine. We don't really need to do anything. So it's confusing the market. And that's why I think they imposed and decided to call them a currency manipulator, because they're creating some form of oxymoron. We need to do this change to stay competitive in the market, but then we're all well and good on the financial stance. And so I do think this was a chess move that China made in retaliation to Trump's tariffs.
Talks were taking place most recently in Shanghai. So why do you think President Trump ended that short-lived ceasefire in the trade war and announced plans to slap 10% tariffs by September 1st on the remaining $300 billion in Chinese imports? What happened?
Well, you can call it many things, but it's because China refused to purchase more agricultural products from the United States. And so because they did not do what Trump wanted them to do, Trump retaliated and said, well, then I'm going to just tariff 10% on 300 billion more. And then, of course, China's not going to take it. And they said, OK, fine, we're going to reduce to below the 7% to get a competitive advantage, which means that the United States, who does business there, they're not going to have that competitive advantage. So that's why the United States and the Secretary, Secretary of Treasury, under the demise of the president, said, you know what, based on this act, you are now a currency manipulator. Now We're going to take action to stop you on that.
And Ms. Jackson, where do you see all of this going? As we've been reporting, terrible day on the U.S. Stock indexes. All three had their worst day of the year. Asian markets slumped. European stocks fell across the board.
Yeah. The problem is that nobody knows what's going to happen. It's the uncertainty that's causing the disruption with global markets. So we're probably going to see what's going to happen after September when they do have the talks again. Some people say, oh, just chill out, you'll be okay. Other people are saying this is almost the end of the world and be careful. I say let's wait for the long haul and see what happens after the talks in September.
Ms. Jackson, thank you very much for your time on this. We do appreciate it. That is Tarra Jackson, live in Wilmington, Delaware.